Hmm. Now you can hear me, huh? Now you guys can hear me. Need to crank down the volume in my ears right now because I can still. There we go. I need to be able to concentrate. I'll crank that down to a 10. As long as you're not referring to me, Whistle Boy. Actually, I'm kind of weird sometimes. Well, good morning. It's been as long as it's been. Feels like a long time. I guess it's just been since Friday. But anyway. Well, what's new with my technological development is over the weekend I was discovering the audio visualizers, and I guess the point that I'm at is I can't seem to make it connect with my voice. I also don't know how to make it an actual physical object of Streamlabs. It seems as though the only instructions that I've read and seen are how to have an extra screen and take a cropped uh, capture of a separate area and then import that into Streamlabs, which doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem right. Doesn't seem right. So I got Rain Meter, and it's pretty, but I don't know how to make it work with voice. And you would think that somebody at Streamlabs would like to make an extra, $1 million. Hey, for $1, you can add this visualizer to Streamlabs OBS. People are like, $1? You kidding me? Times, 1.7 million live streamers. Okay, it doesn't work out that way. I get it. But still. Anyway. Well, knowing that you use Rainmeter and that screen capture method's how you do it, I guess that means that's how Devon Stack on Blackpilled also does it. It just, I thought it was different. I thought it could be different. All these things, I'm always like, guys, it's the year 2019. Guys, it's the year 2034. Guys, it's 2050. I mean, they thought that we would be 100% pure cyborgs by 2050. Who would have known that it would have happened by 2011? What are you trying to say? You're saying that we're cyborgs? Let me show you. Well, first of all, look at my head. If somebody from if somebody from the 1800s, 1700s, if Jules Verne, for instance, saw me, he'd be like, cyborg. And you guys know what this is? A connection to all knowledge, and it connects. You guys know that. I'm not the first to say this, obviously. But let's move on to more important things. Welcome and good morning. Glad glad you guys are here. Um, I've been working and finishing one of my first wood projects, specifically um, for my children this time. And then I started to prepare my first prototype for my coffee mug holder. And yeah, my coffee mug holder is interesting. My tools that I have to work with make it feel as though I just don't know. Here's the biggest dilemma of all. When I look up what shipping is going to be for 24 by 36, it's going to be expensive. It's going to be $48 just for shipping. Basically half of what I want to charge shipping. So if I charge $100, half of it is shipping, which is yeah, it's just wow. Anyway, well, why don't you make it smaller? That's part of the problem. It's part of the problem is what they're selling online is too small. I now understand that the reason they're selling it small is to go down to a next tier in how much they're spending on shipping, and they're building it into the price of the product as opposed to charging for shipping because they don't want to sell a $30 item and have $35 shipping, which is what it would be. So instead, they charge $65, $75. Anyway, good morning. Let's move on. Let's move on. We'll move on and make it rhyme with First John, right? Do a little bit more of the background. A little bit. There you go. Too much? I'll back off just a little bit. Good old Joey Fehrenbach. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Pandora. Alrighty. Let's do this. Let's do this. we'll just go with this then, guys. I'm going to assume you can hear me now. Now I'm using the audio from my camera as opposed to my headphones. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Seriously, though. OBS says that you can hear me. So, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Okay, well, apparently OBS was just being mean. Or my microphone, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I showed you the picture. It said it was working, so I'm gonna assume you guys were reading along with me. The words were on the screen, so we'll just go. Did it just start when I switched over? Is that how that happened? You could hear me for the rest of the time, I'm assuming, because you were responding to what I was saying. It was when I switched to the Bible. Yeah. I can understand why people spiral. The technological difficulties and all that. Because it feels like wasted time, but nothing's wasted. You guys can read the Bible. And we can read it together. So. That's funny, because the music's been playing this entire time, so. I've just had it extremely low. Like, supposedly, you can hear the music right now, but extremely low. But, anyway, we'll just go ahead. We will go ahead. Part of the problem with the camera audio is, you can also hear the fan in the background, the air filter that I have up here. It's okay, we'll just go ahead with it. These are important verses. If we say we have no sin, refusing to admit that we are sinners, we delude and lead ourselves astray. And the truth which the gospel presents is not in us, does not dwell in our hearts. If we freely admit that we have sinned and confess our sins, he is faithful and just, true to his own nature, promises, and will forgive our sins and dismiss our lawlessness and continuously cleanse us from all unrighteousness, everything not in conformity to his will in purpose, thought, and action. If we say we have not sinned, we contradict his word and make him out to be false and a liar, and his word is not in us. The divine message of the gospel is not in our hearts. My little children, I write you these things so that you may not We'll stop here. I'm going to engage in some evil sarcasm or satire or whatever you want to call it. My little children, I write to you so that you may not experience pain. Little children, I write to you so that you can be able to make your dreams come true. Little children, I write to you so that you can be the happiest
you ever could be. Little children, I write to you to let you know anything you pray for, as long as you tithe 97% of your income to my ministry, little children, you'll get anything you want. If you want to fly, you can fly to the sky. If you want a Lamborghini, you can have a Lamborghini. It's all about I. And when I mean I mean you. I mean I. In you. You, I. Just little children. Little children, don't let anything hold you back. Don't let anything hold you back. You've got a bill due. You have a $200 electricity bill, and you have $200 in the bank, and it's due tomorrow. But today is church. You better give me that $200 and trust God that He's going to pay your electric bill. And He will. Because that's how it works. Have you been to a church like that? I have. I have. Uh, no. That's not what 1 John says. My little children, I write to you these things so that you may not violate God's law. But I thought we were free from the law. I thought that God had set us free. We are no longer slaves to sin, right? That's right. We're no longer slaves to sin. But sin and the law, now those are two different things entirely. Yes, they're related. It doesn't talk about setting us free from the law. It talks about setting us free from the consequences of the law. What does the law do? The law is the tool to convict us. I write you these things so that you may not violate God's law and sin. But if anyone should sin, we have an advocate, one who will intercede for us with the Father. It is Jesus Christ, the all-righteous, upright, just, who conforms to the Father's will in every purpose, thought, and action. And He, that same Jesus Himself, is the propitiation, the atoning sacrifice for our sins. Not for ours alone, but also for the sins of the whole world. Some big stuff, guys. Some big stuff in these verses. And this is how we may discern daily by experience that we are coming to know Him, to perceive and recognize and understand and become better acquainted with Him. If we keep, bear in mind, observe, and practice His teachings, precepts, and commandments. Whoever says, I know Him, I perceive, recognize, understand, and am acquainted with Him, but fails to keep and obey His commandments, His teachings, is a liar, and the truth of the gospel is not in him. I'm sorry, we need to read that verse. 19.37 million times in a row. I'll see you in a year and a half. Actually, it'd probably take 2 or 3 years to do that. 16 hours a day. $19.7 is pretty big. 19.7 billion is pretty big. Alrighty. What's going on? But seriously, 1 John chapter 2, verse 4. Whoever says, I know him. Anybody that, wears a cross. Oh, I'm a Christian. But they fail to keep and obey his commandments is a liar. And the truth of the gospel is not in him. Now, does this say anybody who sins is not a Christian? Obviously not. It said the opposite right above that. But if anyone should sin... Okay, come on. Go away. Thank you. But if... Okay, let's go higher. But if anyone should sin, we have an advocate. Okay? But whoever says, I know him, but fails to keep and obey his commandments, his teachings, is a liar. The truth of the gospel is not in him. Should we consider what the meaning of this right here? Should we consider what that means? I would say so. Because if you're a human being on this planet, you do not like this. Nobody does. Nobody likes being lied to. It's part of how we're built. We have expectations, and if our expectations aren't met, we're disappointed, at the least. But other emotions, such as betrayal, so on and so on, these are the things that kind of overwhelming. Alright, so we had some technical difficulties this morning. We're going to stop at verse 4. You all are going to read that 19.7 million times. And I will see you guys after my beard has touched the floor, because that's about how long it'll take me to read that. 19.7 million times. Am I being hyperbolic? Of course I am. Alright, but everybody have a good day. We'll figure out the technical difficulties eventually. I need to move that up. It's all good. But, yeah. Yep. Anyway, guys. You guys know what it is. Read 1 John. It's good. Have a good day. But more importantly than having a good day, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength.